Joining us now, the chairman of House Oversight. He's Congressman James Comer. James Comer, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Okay, so you introduced a resolution today recommending that the House hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress after he defied a congressional subpoena to testify in the Biden impeachment inquiry. So do you think he got the votes to hold him in contempt?
Absolutely. We're going to pass it out of the House Oversight Committee on Wednesday. At the same time, the Judiciary Committee is going to be marking up the exact same bill. Both committees will pass that out. Then it'll go on to the full floor, hopefully at the beginning of next week. You know, we have to have so many readings of a bill before you can vote on it on the full floor. But I think we're sending a message loud and clear. We expect people to comply with our lawful subpoenas, regardless of what your last name is. And the days of the federal government turning a blind eye to the president's family's corruption is over. We expect the president's son to come in and answer specific questions about bank records that we have that reference massive wires of money from our enemies around the world, and we have no idea what this family did to receive the millions of dollars they received from our enemies around the world.
What's the status of that inquiry?
Well, certainly if he's held in contempt, which I think he will be, I know we're going to pass that out of both committees this week. I believe he'll be held in contempt of the full Congress next week. Then Merrick Garland's going to have an opportunity to demonstrate that there's not a two-tier system of justice in America. We know that last year there were two Republicans that the Democrat-controlled House of Representatives held in contempt of Congress for defying a subpoena of the January 6th committee, which many of us didn't think was a credible committee. The Oversight Committee is, and we certainly expect Merrick Garland to prosecute the president's son in the same manner he prosecuted the two Republicans who defied a lawful congressional subpoena.
So will the House will you guys also investigate the president for allegations of obstruction in advising or knowing that Hunter would not testify, that he was going to defy the subpoena?
Absolutely. You know, the president is in a lot of trouble as well. We've got his son and brother who, by all accounts, have violated the Foreign Agents Registration Act. They did that through lobbying the president, Joe Biden. So you look at the money that the Bidens have received, unless they come up with a good explanation for what they did to receive the $20+ million they've received from our enemies around the world, then that constitutes a bribe, the full legal definition of a bribe. So we've got a lot of questions. Obviously, the president's family deserves due process, but it's hard to be able to get the answers that we have when the president's son continues to defy subpoenas and they continue to not cooperate with this committee.
What's the status of the House impeachment inquiry into President Biden?
Yeah, it's moving ahead. We have some more depositions in the next week. Some pretty high-profile people in this investigation. We're in the deposition phase. As soon as we get these depositions, then we plan on wrapping our part up. That would be the House Oversight Committee, the impeachment inquiry. And then we'll decide there if we move forward with full impeachment. If so, then I'll be handing this investigation over to the Judiciary Committee, because the Judiciary Committee is the one that impeaches.
Got it. Chairman Comer, thank you for joining us. Good to see you.